gonna fit. All right, finally found a good deal on a Coates rim clamp tire machine. Just snagged this one for $900. It does need a couple of repairs we'll talk about in this video. So it's kind of just like a tire machine tour video slash cleaning up and repairs. I don't know. But this is the identical machine that I used to use when I worked at a shop. It's the 70X-AH-3, and so I know it's a good, solid, tough unit. They have overseas made ones, all sorts of different brands, but I know the Coates makes a great machine. In fact, this is going to be an upgrade from my Coates 1010 Super Powerman, which you may have seen in other videos. But, you know, it's this great quality machine. This one's pretty hammered up, works amazing though. It's just, without having the rotating table, it's lacking a lot of features. This is good for steel rims and older vehicles, but time to upgrade. Now these units don't sell for as cheap. I've been kind of chasing them for a little bit. Brand new, you're looking for around the $9,000 mark. Refurbished, $5K-ish. And then used, I usually see them around $2,500 thereabout. Sometimes $1,200, $1,500, but they sell very quick. This one was listed for $1,200, but he said there's an issue with the bead breaker on it. He said it doesn't work right or something, so hopefully that's going to be a simple fix. Offered him $900, he took it. Oh, this came from a chain tire store, and I could tell by the pictures it's been used and abused. I mean, very dirty, but they did keep the table nice and clean, and I saw it still had the stickers. There's some items I'm looking at, like it still has the original clip-on. So it's not been used as much as other ones I've seen. It still has a lot of life in it. Well, hopefully. I have not seen it work yet, so in this video, we're gonna see if it does. Now, there's one thing I don't like about this 70X-AH-3, and that is the upgraded bead breaker on these newer Coates. The handle, you pull up to go in and push down to go out. And if you guys ever used one of these, if you're breaking a bead and you're holding on this, like with your fist, when that bead breaks, it just, boom, it'll rip this thing right out of your hand and kind of hurt your arm if you have a good grip. But I've always found if you just kind of palm it like that, and then when it suddenly jerks, then it's all right. But the older ones had a foot pedal for the bead breaker, and I liked that much better on the old machine, but haven't seen one of those for sale yet. The pads on here, pretty good condition. The one that we had at my shop they were completely destroyed. Now, I know this one doesn't have the same amount of hours. No way. This is a very nice feature on these machines. The pneumatic switch is loose on it, but for pushing beads down and such, super, super handy. If you've used a machine with one and without one, you know what they come in clutch. The air tank on these is built in to the back. It's got a blow-off valve on the top and a gauge. Got a oiler tank, which I don't remember ever adding oil to one of these. That one says it's full. Let's plug some air into it and see what it does. All right, so actually, I'm just realizing this has got the pneumatic table on it. Don't really like that. I'd rather have the electric motor because we had two of these at my work, one with the electric motor and one that had the pneumatic, and it was just never as strong, but this one seems to work, so that's cool. How about the clamps? It's in, it's out, beautiful. And nice, and these are in pretty good shape. You have 3 stages. You can go all the way out like that, or all the way in if you want to clamp, you know, a 13-inch wheel on the inside. How about the arm? Very nice. And the bead breaker. All right, go out, and go in. I don't see an issue. That's got some strength. It just completely pushed this in. That seems to be working completely fine. Did I just score an incredible deal? Found some new hardware for this solenoid. And I see the date on here, December 6, 2012. This machine's not that old at all. And I've got this wheel to try it out. Of course, the unit should be sitting on the ground, so I have a block of wood. Perfect. I also don't like this style because the air valve's right in your face and it's really loud. The one where is the foot pedal on the older machines, the valve's inside of there, so it's not like right in your ear, you know? This is a steel wheel. We can just clamp it on the inside. See how the motor version would be so much stronger. This isn't even that hard wheel. I mean, a lot of time you end up having to lube them or assisting the hydraulic. Let's see, man. Yeah, that's pretty weak. So that would have been nice to try it out first, because I don't know, it should be stronger than that. I just let the compressor tank fully charge up, and while it was happening, I looked up a replacement air motor, $479. I don't know if that's an OEM piece or not, but it's not terrible. Let's see with the extra pressure if it's any better. So we'll rock it like this for now. Here's a glance at the inside, and let's go over a few of the components. Chase all these hoses. Air comes in here and then goes into the system through these two. Now this lower one feeds the whole system over here, and the other one feeds to this red hose and charges the tank. The tank is separate from everything else going on. The way that works, when you're filling tires, you're pressing this, and that's regulated up to, I think, only 55 PSI. These will fill a tire to, because I don't want to, you don't want to fill a tire to 120, obviously by mistake. And then if you press it down real hard, it activates this little air valve and will blow all that huge, what's that, like an inch air hose comes out up here and goes into the bottom of the turntable, comes out each of these little hoses. So oiler, that line or hose comes in off the back tank that I showed you before, goes here, and this is a little bleed port. You push that and you see how oil's trickling out. You'll also notice this whole thing is covered in oil in here, which tells me the oiling system is working. So this is the pneumatic motor that's $479. That almost looks like it could have been replaced before. I don't know. It's really clean. And this is the very noisy part of it. Red in on this side and black. If we're going the opposite way, listen how my earmuffs in case this audio comes really loud. But so each of these are like a little muffler. But of course they're not doing that good of a job. So if you ran each of these off into a separate muffler, not only would it be quieter, you also wouldn't get the oil residue just filled all inside of here. There's a look at the motor spinning. And it goes over here, and this gear, I know these are pretty darn expensive if you have to replace. Like if this is shot, you might as well get a whole new unit. This one seems to be in pretty good shape. This is our turntable valve for going in and out. And then a glance at the bead breaker chamber. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's easily replaceable too. All serviceable and pretty simple to look at. I suppose if we changed the ratio of these pulleys, if we went smaller over here or a touch bigger, we could get some more torque out of this table. All right, to get this oiler system figured out, you got the red hose with oil coming from the tank that's gravity fed, your bleed port that I showed you. And then one hose feeds this side of the system and the other hose feeds the turntable valve and the valve for the jaws. So the way it gets oil though, I thought maybe it got oil by like high pressure blowing past an orifice, and I'm like, how would that work? No, it's actually got this little plunger right here. Every time it goes like that, it shoots a little shot in there. So every time you release the turntable, it's got this little plastic tab on there and gives a little shot. So if you want to oil your motor up and get it operating better, you simply kick up on the pedal a few times, get some oil in the system, and you'll have a stronger motor. And we're gonna try that out right now. Now, charge both sides up with some oil. I mean, I could have just dumped oil in this hose. I just wanted to make sure this system was operating properly. Yeah, let's see how strong this thing is now. I think it's running much stronger. That sounds just way healthier. Yeah, so if you have one of these machines and you feel like it's running a little weak, take your foot, give it some pumps. So much stronger. Unbelievable. Look at that. Best bead blaster ever. I think another good test for air motors in general to see if they need lubricant is if we start pulling up on this lever, you see how that just goes immediately? If you can go super slow speed like that, it means you're lubricated. And the other way. Oh, that actually sounds really weird. Oh, because there was a little fart of oil that came out. I suppose too much oil could be a bad thing too. Speaking of oil, I wonder if this table up here has oil. I do see some kind of port. I'm gonna look that up, see what it takes. And I suppose we'll pressure wash this thing tomorrow. I'm feeling pretty good about the purchase though. Now this thing looks much better after a quick pressure wash. I also scraped a bunch of the rust and crud just everywhere. And I was thinking about, doing a full paint job on here, but maybe one day in the future, if this thing holds up, I like it, we'd strip it all down and give her sandblast the whole thing, do a paint job. So I'm gonna do what I usually do with rust, and I'm gonna go ahead and just hit everything with a little, the tip's clogged on this one. These surface shields have been doing that occasionally. You take it off, blow it out. Anyway, yeah, since this is gonna be stored out in the carport, I'm gonna just do a surface shield over the whole thing. And I know some of you guys don't like that, but it just keeps it from rusting more in the future. I did go ahead and cut some of these lines back that were kinked and longer than they had to be. So those are nice. The trans fluid, let's check that. I think I was saying before, yeah, this big gearbox, these are kind of expensive. So now we got this all cleaned off. See, a little dipstick. Ooh, well that don't look good. Seems to have oil on there, but I see a bunch of metal in it. And on this transmission, I did notice yesterday that, like right here, you can see some oil residue. So I think I'm gonna do the right thing and just fill her on up as high as it'll go. Why not? I don't think extra gear oil in there's gonna be a problem. I don't see a drain plug, but maybe we can pump a little bit out first too. See how it's looking. If there's even anything in there. Yeah, it looks like graphite. There's a lot of metal mixed in there. Mobile Trends SHC 50. Now, if it's good enough for a Mack truck or an Eaton Road Ranger, it's good enough for this. It's a good idea to take some oil, any kind of oil, and lubricate your rods. Keep the air seals in here, you know, working properly. It's probably a little too much, but there you go. Woo! Get it. Get it all up in there. Oh yeah. And that's where she'll live. Just had a guy pick up the Coates 1010 today for 200 bucks. I paid 300, but whatever. I got good use out of it. And he plans to fully refurbish it, paint it and everything. It's funny how everybody's different with that. Some people would have definitely painted this, and I just, doesn't bother me. But got this old countertop. I don't know what it's made of. It's extremely heavy, really strong. It had a seam in the middle of it. And it's definitely some kind of man-made material, but that's a great platform for it, and it's going to keep the steel from sitting right on the ground with the moisture coming up, because everything in this carport, I mean, the clay soil around here is always pulling moisture up through it. Look at that. Anything you take off of it. So that's why the file cabinet's up, and that seems to, I mean, it's still, there should be some kind of vapor barrier there, but things like stainless doesn't matter. Although this rack I made for my steel, that should probably be elevated. You see, I put one of those pallet racking grates on it, and that way you can separate all of the metal. It's kind of organized. That's aluminum, and yeah. Anyway, that'll be nice. I just ordered a bubble balancer off of Amazon too. I'll drop a link to the one I'm talking about, but there's a bunch. You can go to Harbor Freight, 100 bucks there, where they got them the same, looks identical on Amazon for 65 bucks. Feels really good to have a rim clamp in-house now, and I'll end this video now. So thanks very much for tuning in. If you did, if you find a good deal on a rim clamp, go scoop it up. Just make sure it works, because if you look up the parts on these, whew, they are expensive. Hopefully I get some years of use out of this one before it needs any repairs at all. Got kind of lucky, because the guy said the bead breaker didn't work, and bead breaker works fine. Here's the machine I was referring to. I would have rather preferred got the EH, because this has the electric motor table, much stronger, and of course quieter too, but then you got to run power to it. And over here we have the AH, similar to the one that I got. So I was just telling the guys here, I'm like, yeah, if it's ever feeling weak, just hit this pedal up a few times. Of course, this one doesn't have the table bead blaster on it. It's got this stupid nozzle right here, which I never liked, and also this tee off the top to use this guy. Not a good bead seater at all. It's mediocre at best. But you can see these ones are absolutely filthy, and I mean, that's what the tops end up looking like on them.